Hi guys, and welcome back to Is It Worth It reviews. Now today we have an iFi Zen stream. It's a digital streamer that's good, but it's also affordable. My favorite kind. So ZenStream goes for $400 and it's a digital streamer only. So it doesn't have DAC on board. It's not one of those streamers slash DACs that you can connect using analog outputs to your integrated amp or preamp. Basically, this one feeds your DAC with a clean and high quality digital signal. And if you're new to this hobby and you still think that zeros are zeros and ones are ones and digital cannot be inferior or superior to another digital signal, well, I guess you still have some ways to go. But for the rest of you that know about noise, electrical noise, jitter, etc., you probably already know that not all digital sources are born equal. So a dedicated streamer such as this one will sound better than just a general purpose PC, laptop, tablet or phone. Especially if you really have resolving high quality hi-fi system. But we'll get to that and to how it actually sounds a little bit later. For now, I just wanted to quickly go through its build and features, starting with that I really love how every iFi device from this series is made. This is made of aluminium and it's thick and it feels sturdy and I simply like it. Both front and back panels are brushed aluminium and this curvy part is like anodized, I think, aluminium. I said thick one. And there's even a practical side to it for such small devices. When you hook your Ethernet cable on the back, your USB cable, SPDIF cable, etc., those cables can sometimes pull back very lightweight units, plastic units such as this one. And I usually have to use some sort of weight just to keep it securely and firmly in place. But with ZenStream, I never had such problems. And in front, you can see two circles that light up, those are LEDs, and two buttons. And those circles will light up in different colors depending on what type of format you're playing, what type of source or output you're using. I don't even remember that myself. You can find the meaning of both circles and their colors in the manual when you actually purchase the unit. What I wanted to tell you, and it's very important for me, is that you can actually turn off both of these lights by quickly pressing this button. And the unit will continue working. You will have this small LED here in the corner that will show you that the unit is working. But these two big colorful ones will be turned off and I prefer it that way. They're quite distracting in my opinion. I don't like strong and big LEDs. It's actually much more interesting in the back where you can find Ethernet port for connecting this to your network, which you can also do wirelessly. Then we have two USB ports where you can use one as input and the other one as output. So these USBs are capable of sending audio signal to your USB DAC. And next to these two, you have a coaxial RCA SPDIF output. So basically these are two digital outputs that you have, USB and RCA SPDIF. Those are most commonly used in most of the DACs, so I think everybody should be covered, all DACs should be covered. But if you require something more peculiar, I don't know, optical output or I2S, AES, EBU, something like that, this unit does not really offer that. Then lastly, and very importantly in my opinion, this small switch in form of a screw in the back that has 5 different positions. And all of these positions are again explained in the manual. For example, one of them, I think that's number 5, is called all-in-one. That means that all of the features, and iFi ZenStream has plenty of them, are enabled at the same time, meaning that UPnP DLNA will be working, then Tidal Connect will be working, Spotify Connect, AirPlay, and if I forgot something, forgive me, because there are plenty of protocols that this unit supports. In my case, I basically mostly used it in its DLNA UPnP state because I like using UPnP apps on my smartphone. And then that app is connecting me to my streaming services, internet radios, my files, and I just use that one protocol called UPnP or DLNA to connect my phone over network to ZenStream. And important thing here, if you ask me, why wouldn't you simply use that all-in-one mode? Well, because we found out that all-in-one mode sounds slightly inferior to these exclusive modes. When all-in-one is enabled, all of the features and functions and processes in the operating systems are enabled. And there is a little bit more for the system to do and care about. When you switch to your preferred mode of connection, in my case it's UPnP, for you it's maybe Tidal Connect or Spotify Connect or Roon Endpoint, this streamer actually starts sounding better because it just turns off everything that you don't need. I suppose that means it consumes less power, maybe operating system has less things to worry about. I'm not completely sure how all of this is functioning, but it is noticeable when I switch to this exclusive UPnP mode, sound fidelity increases. And when it comes to the sound fidelity, that's where Story is getting really good, because ZenStream sounds great. It has lots of details, it's well balanced, and it sounds smooth with nice dark background. So for you that are completely new to this whole digital streaming thing, I'll start by saying that if you're using any sort of general purpose PC and you're hooking it directly to your DAC using USB, and if you heard that there are USB conditioners, something that will basically cleanse your USB signal from the electrical noise coming from that PC, and maybe reclock the signal for less jitter, and maybe even galvanically isolate PC ground from your DAC ground, all of these can help. And in some systems, as I said, with high resolution that are highly resolving, that can be heard. Well, all of that is basically already integrated in ZenStream and on both of its available outputs, may that be SPDIF or USB. So basically, when compared to a general purpose PC, iFi ZenStream simply sounds more detailed, notes are cleaner, they're more calm and more smooth too. There is some sort of dirt and digital glare that comes from PC that you might think like, what is he talking about? I don't hear any dirt or glare from my PC. And you are right, you don't notice that at first, but as you advance with your hi-fi setup, and if you try some of the cleaner audiophile sources like this one, and you adjust your perception to it, and you get used to that cleaner signal with darker background, smoother, more natural presentation, and when you get back to a just usual normal PC, you will notice that notes are more cramped, a little bit hazier, a little bit more glary in the highs, somewhat more tiring for longer listening sessions, and just not as clean and as airy and as free in space as with a dedicated streamer. So yeah, compared to a PC, it's a clear upgrade. But that's an easy job. What if you already have some sort of streamer? So let's start with one of the most affordable options, that would be Allo DigiOne board. That's only a SPDIF board. It's a hat for Raspberry Pis that cleans out the signal. And it sounds really nice and really smooth, and it really does help. But ZenStream here is definitely on another level. If you compare it to Allo DigiOne, it sounds crisper, cleaner, more airy. It's deeper soundstage too. It's just more incisive overall. Bass notes feel more grippy and with more texture. All tones are cleaner, crisper, and separated better than with Allo DigiOne. Then if we move one step up to something really good, such as Pi2Design Pi2AES, that I have been personally using for some time now, this one is actually really decent sounding streamer. It's again based on Raspberry Pi. This is a hat. If you want to know more about it, you can find that review on my channel. And this device cost, at least it used to cost $250 before this whole inflation and all pricing going up. I don't know the pricing currently, but it used to be $250. And it was really undefeated when it comes to sound quality at such a low price. Well, I'm happy to say that iFi ZenStream here sounds just a touch airier and just a touch more detailed than Pi2AES to my ears. If you're using exclusive mode, like I've explained, if you're using all-in-one mode, it doesn't sound any better. In fact, it may even be melting down tones a little bit more than Pi2AES. And that really tells you how evenly these are matched, how close they are in terms of sound fidelity. So if you're using this all-in-one mode that does not sound as good, ZenStream cannot fully and completely match the clarity of Pi2AES. But once you go to one of these exclusive modes, it matches it and maybe just by a hair surpasses it by sounding just slightly more open and slightly more airy and more relaxed than Pi2AES. So all in all, pretty similar offerings, but both of these have other qualities that might pull you towards them or just push you towards the other one. For example, ZenStream is clearly much better looking and okay, looks is something subjective, but it feels sturdier. It's a aluminum device, heftier, weightier, just looks like a complete product, whereas Pi2AES in this light acrylic case is lightweight, it has screws all over it and holes, it just doesn't look as good. It's more of do-it-yourself kind of thing, but it does offer richer connectivity, including BNC, then optical, and also AES EBU. Oh yeah, there is also I2S over HDMI. So if you're about having a really rich connectivity and maybe having free choices with choosing your operating system, because you can do that with Raspberry Pi based devices, this one might offer more versatility. But when it comes to sheer sound fidelity, if you are okay with what outputs you get with ZenStream, yeah, I would say that it's just slightly by a hair surpasses Pi2AES. It does cost a little bit more, but it's a factory finished product that looks and feels great in hand. Now, how about some other competitors? For example, Bluesound Node 2i. Well, if you have seen my Pi2AES review, you already know that it sounds noticeably better than Node 2i. So that's also true for ZenStream. It reveals more details, it has wider soundstage, airier soundstage, more grip over bass notes and just more detailed mid-range, more extended highs. It sounds better. Node 2i has a really nice software, it's nice looking, It's a decent device, but it's more expensive and not as good sounding as ZenStream. So in my opinion, ZenStream is clearly a better digital streamer. Oh yeah, Node 2i has analog outputs. So if you want a digital streamer that is a DAC too, and you are going to use its analog outputs, Node 2i is still a very decent solution. But I know that many people are using it as a digital streamer only connected to a better separate DAC. In that case, I cannot recommend it because this one is clearly better sounding device. And the last one I wanted to compare it with is Lindemann Limetree Bridge. That's another nicely made, good looking, small compact streamer that sounds really great, airy, open, detailed. And it's basically on the same level with ZenStream. There is no much to differentiate these two in terms of sound fidelity. If I was splitting hairs, I think that ZenStream might sound just a little bit smoother and more refined. That's just splitting hairs. They basically sound equally good to my ears. But ZenStream comes at a significantly lower price because Limetree Bridge is around $700–800 and it sounds best when you're using Lindemann's own app that I didn't like particularly. You can see that in my Limetree Bridge review. So all in all, I do prefer iFi ZenStream. I prefer its functionality. I prefer its sound fidelity just ever so slightly, and I prefer its pricing quite a bit. I guess you have already realized by now that this little streamer really sounds good. It comes with external power supply because it accepts 12 volts DC. And if you want to do that, you can upgrade to a better power supply like my friend that loaned me this unit did. He bought iFi iPower-X, this big white chunky one. And it really does increase sound fidelity even further. It cleans out tones just a little bit more and makes background just ever so slightly darker, which in turn helps details pop out more. It's like a circle, you know. Darker background, lower noise floor means tones that you actually want to hear pop out more. And I cannot comment on is that a worthy upgrade to you or not, but to my ears it is. If I would to use this one personally, I would purchase this one as an upgrade. It's still actually cheaper than most audiophile streamers, these two together, but it sounds awesome. And just one last thing before we finish this. ZenStream can at times behave a little bit finicky. For example, when you turn it on, it doesn't always necessarily latch to the stream. Sometimes it simply won't start streaming, or it does not recognize your DAC. Fortunately, solution is always really simple, you just restart it. And for the second time around, chances are everything will start working just fine. Luckily, it's not a big nuisance because once it actually starts working, it's seen on your network, it's connected to your DAC, and music is playing, it will not misbehave in my experience. So when you're tinkering with settings, changing modes from all-in-one or some of these exclusive ones, or changing outputs, you might encounter a little bit of that finicky behavior where you just turn it on and it won't start streaming. But then you restart it, everything works fine, and as long as you keep it turned on, it will continue to work fine days and weeks without any problems. So that would be all. Basically a little bit finicky behavior at times, but once set up, it works just fine and just as expected. Great sound, really reasonable pricing for this level of sound fidelity and this level of build. And that basically makes it my recommended budget streamer, that if I'm on a market right now for a streamer, I would purchase this one. I already have Pi2AES and I've just received Pi2Design Mercury, review coming soon. But if I was streamerless and on the market for a streamer with digital outputs right now, if I don't need these other outputs, I'm okay with USB and SPDIF, I would go for this one. It's a mighty good combination of all things done right, really little to complain about, and at a really good pricing. So it has my high recommendation. And I guess that my revenge against iFi is going to have to wait until they make a bad device. And you will, iFi. You will. I'll get you someday, I promise. But today is not that day because ZenStream is simply a great budget streamer. And thanks to my friend that loaned this unit for me for a week, we have this review. And if you appreciate what I'm doing here on this channel, then like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a patron because that really helps me run this channel and stay independent and share my honest opinion about everything I test. And that would be all for today. See you next time. Bye.